Hello YouTube, I'm back with another train tutorial, and inspired by the Unlucky Tug's recent video, I have built Timothy. So, let's get into it. So like all trains, we'll need our train station. We'll start by creating our train, and we're just going to put down 2 bogies. I prefer the slightly larger, or the large wheels for this. And then we're going to be taking temporary blocks and just putting them all along the sides of the train. There'll be about 6 of those. And then we'll be taking our Copycat bite panels and putting them in on the corners with Copycat panel or Copycat half panels in the 4 spaces between them. You can go ahead and remove your temporary blocks. And you can follow this up with your, well, I'll be using cut scorcha, but realistically you could use just about whatever colors you want. And we'll be just filling in all the slots around the side of Timothy. So what you can see here is that the train extends over the front, but not quite at the back. The back of the train is pretty much flush with this rear piston. I'll be taking Copycat slabs, and I will be once again putting polished cut scorcha in those, and then I'll be having polished cut azurine, or layered azurine. My mistake, layered azurine in the sides, followed by azurine in all of our Copycat bites and half panels. And we'll just want to make sure that all of our train, we'll want to make sure our train is symmetrical up until this point. We're going to quickly throw throw some train controls on there. So what we will be doing here, and you could do this with any of the blocks I suppose, but I'll be using crimsite pillars. It seems to me, based on my reference images, that Timothy has some red buffers that are they're slightly larger than the front beam. They go down not all the way to the ground, but most of the way, and unfortunately there aren't any convenient buffers in this pack yet, or in the Create 6 mod pack yet. There aren't any buffers compatible with Create 6 yet. So what we're going to be doing here is just filling in Copycat panels and half layers with our crimsite pillars just to take up that space. And most of this area is being done in such a way so that we can just fill everything in later on. And we're going to work on the boiler next. We'll be taking scorcha pillars, turning them on their side, to create the front, the smoke box. And then we'll be using our azurine pillars. Come on, there you go. Yeah. To create the top part of the smoke box, but we'll take Copycat stacked half layers to fill out, oh, hang on, the edges here. And this is so that we can have our controls in the front and have them still fairly hidden. And we'll be doing this on either side of the train once again, or either side of the boiler. There we go. Now my original design, I did not include a seat, but if you're going to assign this train a conductor, you'll want to throw a seat in there just to keep him under, just so he has somewhere to sit. The following step is entirely unnecessary, but I choose to add a coal barrel and then a trapdoor, and that's just to hide the barrel, but you can still access it so that you can change anything you want to later on. Next, we'll be filling in the sides here. Now we will be moving away from our symmetrical train to give Timothy this more peculiar shape that none of the other engines have. And that is because Timothy is technically an oil burning engine, so he has a little oil tank on his back here, which we'll just be creating with copycat bytes. And then on Timothy's right side, we'll just use some layered azurine and copycat stairs to create his, just his oddly shaped back end. Now, you can see how the barrel is visible through. That's the problem. Okay. Fortunately, copycat boards and some layered azurine, and we can just cover all that right up. Not really much of a line there, and now it's not even a problem. You don't have to see any of that. So next, we'll be taking some, I guess, slices, since I have to search for everything again. We can just continue using our layered azurine, and we'll just throw some copycat slices in the corner, vertical slices in the corners. And we're using these because Timothy's supposed to, at least his base, has a large open cab. So that's what I'm working off of mostly. His cow catcher sort of thing. Basically just protecting anyone else from getting thrown underneath. I guess he does work in a quarry, so I guess they would have this to stop anyone from accidentally falling underneath or getting sucked underneath the engine in this location. You know what? Now that I think about it, you could take a copycat box if you wanted to. You could fill in this side here, and you can put your polished cut scorcher on the top and have your layered azurine on the side. In fact, I do think I like this more. It just makes it slightly different. And then, realistically, you don't even have to have copycats down here, as this is all hidden anyway. So, no one should really be seeing that. Then on Timothy's roof, we'll take let's take a slope layer and some regular copycat layers and some scorcher pillars. Once again, it could be just about anything because, well, it's such a small detail. It should never really be really touched or messed with here. I suppose if it were a real train, you'd need maybe more detail, and you can orient these however you want. I like the stripes running front to back. Now on the copycat slices running along Timothy's cow catchers, or side plates, we'll be using some cut andesite. It makes it look both dirty, but at the same time, it shows his coupling rods. This isn't really necessary, I suppose, but I do like putting ladders on my trains. I know in this instance, with the coupling rods exposed, once he's formed into a train, you could climb up into here. It's time we add a smokestack with a copycat beam and more polished cut scorcha. I think we're going to go ahead and glue Timothy together now, so you need to throw a temporary block in the corner up front, and however you want to do it, just make sure you have the whole thing glued in one big block. And we're doing it in one block because doing multiple sections, especially with worlds with more trains, actually results in more lag in the world, and just singular large chunks they're just better for the game functions. I understand there's not a whole lot of movement with him, but within the create mod, this is kind of the best I got. You could, of course, switch out his barrel for this barrel for something like a portable, well, I think it was a train. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe that was a steam and rails thing, but it was a portable fuel thing. I don't know. Fuel tank. So you could fill it with, and you could have water, you could have lava, whatever you wanted to power your trains with. And you could require that they had one or both. But yeah, this is Timothy with and without a seat. If you wanted to add to it, you could still have, your train controls here, and you could switch it up so you have your stacked half copycat stacked half layer on the top and the bottom, and then some copycat bytes on the top, and those would just be used to hide, say, another trapdoor, for example, to let you open up Timothy's boiler, and you could have blaze a blaze burner inside of the smoke box, not smoke box, inside of the boiler, and then you could have the blaze burner operating as the conductor. So you could still have Timothy open like this, for example, and not have to have a visible conductor present. But yeah, this is what I got for today. Unfortunately, without Steam and Rails, I do feel like I'm slightly limited, and maybe that's more a hindrance. It says it's more of a negative thing about me, but hopefully that'll be coming out in the coming months, sooner rather than later, and then I can get back to having like really nice trains on my own worlds, because I haven't built a train since Create 6 came out. Not a new train anyway. So, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, if you haven't made it this far, you're not hearing this part, so it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment who you'd like to see me build next, and until next time, take care. Peace.